This is our layers. These guys got moved. They're moved yesterday, so we can see where they were the day before. So we've had a lot of rain. We've had up, I'd say, my rain gauge got blown away in the wind with the storm, but we must have had at least 100 mil of rain. So birds impact ground really fast. You can see here, and we'll have a look at the other one. This is probably worse. We're on there's a decent slope here, so there's a nice fall, so the water doesn't lie. But up at the other eggmobile up there, it's a lot more level, so the water can lie there. But that's the problem with running pastures in a really high precipitation climate, is that they can turn the soil over really quick. So you can't stay too long, but you also, depending on how much land you have, you can't move too fast either. Typically we slow down this time of year, so this has got 2 days worth of impact on it. Sorry, that's not correct, it's 3 days worth of impact. We really slow down this time of year, so we're on about a 60-day recovery period now. That's why we stay 3 days. So we impact the ground pretty hard, but then we stay off it for a long time. And my real goal is maybe just to come over this once more. So in 60 days, we've still got daytime temperatures of 15-16 degrees, so regrowth is still pretty good. If we walk over here, we'll see what the regrowth is like. So I think this has got about 30 days regrowth on it, and you can see what's my boot. So we're a deep sward here, and if I can get in and pull this off, so we've got, if I can lay it out there, we've got 1, 2, 3, we're on to our 4th through leaf, which is fine for grazing again. And we'll go and see. It's fine to take the birds back on that, and I'm really happy with the regrowth. So we still got, here's a little bit of sedge coming through here, but you can see it's getting completely outcompeted by grasses. You can hardly see it there, so we're happy with that. This is our last batch of broilers. We've got the layers right next door. These guys are doing pretty well. They're due for processing in 2 weeks. We've ended up typically growing our broilers out to about 9 to 10 weeks, which, because I'm contemplating going for organic. I'm not currently organic with my birds because we don't grow them out to 81 days. But I've been contemplating doing up a feed plan to take them out to 81 days and going for organic. I'm quite happy at between 9 and 10 weeks, to be honest. The birds are nice and healthy and mortality is low. We do have a problem here in Ireland with the moisture. We typically get, this last couple of summers, midsummer, kind of July has been very wet, and that does affect the performance of the birds. I've had a higher mortality rate with our kind of midsummer batches, and it's just the moisture. You know, these birds aren't ideal for the moisture. Now they've got great protection from the rain, but just it rains all the time. We end up having to move the pens a lot more often, and yeah, it's just something to bear in mind when you're raising broilers in such a moist climate. The temperatures are always pretty warm. Like in midsummer, you're up in like high teens, even into the 20s. So it's not that they're getting cold or anything, but it's just not optimum for their health. It can give them lung problems. But at small numbers, a couple, like it's maybe 1-2%, but it's just something I find some of my counterpart farmers around Europe don't seem to have as much of a problem with that. So I'm going to think on that over the winter and see how I could maybe modify things a little to compensate for that as well. We're out here in the front field with the sheep, and they've been doing really well. They're out in the front field now for a while, and because we're trying not to eat as much of the grass ahead of the chickens anymore, so that we leave a good armouring on the ground. And these guys are going to go for processing soon. One thing I would say maybe is I should have trimmed them up around the bums a bit better, but we're over fly strike season now. I think we had 2 guys get hit, but we managed to stay on top of it. I need to weigh these lambs. I'd say most of them are in around 45 kilos. Some of the bigger lambs will be hitting 50. We'll probably take them in 2 batches. We'll take maybe 5 of them next week, and then we'll take the remainder. I'm going to be getting the pigs done in about 3 weeks, and we maybe take the rest of the lambs with them, take them all off to the butchers in the one go. Now these guys are all completely sold. We sell our lambs as half whole or quarter. Most of our customers buy a whole lamb, which is really handy for us because we just get the butchers to package it all up, vac pack it, and just deliver our customers a box of beautiful grass-fed lamb. These guys like having a little bit of shelter from the trees there, but really happy with how our lamb's done. They've done a great job keeping our grasses. You know, their primary job here is to keep the grass in good healthy state, and they've done an awesome job in that. Some of our fruit trees have done pretty well. They got a hammer in there with the wind, but I'm really happy with how they've done their first year in, and I'm planning, as you can see now, my next tree lane is up there. There's actually, that post indicates where they need to go another tree lane, so I need to start ordering some fruit trees to fill out where I missed. I'm on 8-meter spacings from tree to tree. I mean, I could technically put another fruit tree in the middle here. I'm not sure if I'll do that yet. I want to get some berry bushes in the front and the back, but I need to kind of budget for that, and hopefully in the spring I'll have put aside some money to get and ordered some berry bushes, and we'll get some nice proper tree lanes going here, because the beauty about the berry bushes is that we can have our trees working up here, we can have our berry bushes working here, and then we have our pasture working down here. I really like the idea of that system of stacking the different levels, and with any plant, what you see happening above the ground is happening below the ground, so we're getting rooting depth to all these different depths. Here we got a bit of ground that just got heavy impact from the birds. You can see, I think the fence probably ran up along here, and they always come to the front of the fence because the yard is over there, so when it's feed time they all come up to the front of the fence and they like to hang around here, and so it gets impacted. But this is all mainly, it's dead grasses that have been trampled down, and you can see regrowth has started here, but this in particular, areas like this, and this is due to it just being so wet, they started to bring some of the soil up over the grasses. This is all grass and underneath it, it's not just bare soil, but we use this to our advantage because I do want to improve the diversity of the pasture. So what I've done here, and you can see it's starting to germinate, I just overseed. It's a pasture herbal mix, so it's high in clover, but it's got lots of herbs as well, because I want to try and incorporate a lot more herbs into the pasture. We have a small variety of herbs, but I want to really increase that, so the animals can self-medicate and they're not just having the availability of one type of grass. So on an area like this, I come along and just by hand overcast some seeds, and then it just speeds up the recovery as well. Now, I don't have to do that. If I just left it, the grass would start to come up. Like I'm pretty sure these shoots here are just from the pasture itself. But you can see all of our oversown seeds starting to germinate there. And I can do that in the summertime when the temperatures are good, and you kind of need to wait for a wee spell of weather when it's not going to be too wet, but it's not going to be too dry. But it's a bit of a lottery. I don't put too much thought into it. Kind of quantity over quality, is that what they say? With the weather, so I just sow away. Grass seed is not that expensive. It's like €70 for an organic bag of grass seed, which will do me the whole season. And we'll take a walk. I'm just out here at the back of the farm, and regrowth is really good here. Like, that's what you call a good stand of grass. I mean, it can be a lot better, but I'm just out here checking my fence. So in previous videos I showed you, I've been really lucky this year. I didn't have any deer come onto the farm, and I've been talking to a local hunter here, and it's just this phenomenal amount of deer around, and this was my poor boy effort this year. But the next project on is to upgrade this fence. So I've got pretty much all the materials I need. We'll hire in a machine, and we're going to have to put up a big perimeter fence. Two reasons for that. One is for the deer to protect the fruit trees. We've got all our fruit trees out here. We want to protect them, so we're putting up a 6-foot fence with electrified wires, 2 rows on top and 1 row on the bottom on the inside. And the second reason is in Ireland, to do free range poultry, the department, you're required to have a predator proof poultry industry standard fence. So that's going to do the two jobs for me. I'm going to have my perimeter fence for my free range area, and I'm going to have my fruit trees protected. Now it's quite a costly investment here. It's probably going to cost me, I'd say, about €7,500, plus it's going to take me probably 2 to 3 weeks to put it in, because I got to come along and I got to clear the whole lines all the way around the farm, and then we got to come along with the machine, put in the posts, and then erect the wire. And it's just going to be me and my brother-in-law, so it's probably going to take us a little bit, but it's still more cost effective for me to do that than to get a contractor in, because it's just doubles the cost, and I can't afford that right now, so I gotta do the hard work. This is our second Eggmobile, and I'm definitely starting to struggle with that one now. That's only got one axle on it, and I'm starting to pay the price for that. As the ground gets softer, it's getting harder and harder to move it, so I just need to come up with a clever fix there. You can see how these guys are definitely impacting it, and we're moving in here tomorrow. Our bees, it's been a funny year for beekeeping. It's more maybe just for me. I didn't really get much of a honey crop. It's just the way things panned out with doing splits, and I had a couple of hives that I wanted to keep in honey production that swarmed on me, so I didn't get, our honey crop has been very poor. We had a really dry first half to the summer, and then we had a really wet July, so the crop hasn't been bumper. But I know on the east coast they've had definitely a much better honey flow this year. So these are just nuke boxes. The guys actually had to tie them all down for the storm. So I'm going to start to bring all my bee boxes together now for the winter, to get them ready for the winter. Any of these new colonies that maybe haven't got enough honey resources, I might give them a bit of sugar syrup just to get them built up. I haven't checked them out now for, I think maybe it's 2 weeks since I was in them, so I'll see how they're building up. If anyone needs a bit of help, I'll give them a bit of help. Some of these bigger colonies will be fine. They'll have plenty of stores, and that'll be, the beekeeping will soon be wrapped up for the year, and then we just get ready for spring again. I'm just picking some beautiful blackberries, and look who's over the ditch. That's the turkeys, taking some shelter. You can see where we were, and then we got to move tomorrow over there. Turkeys are doing really well. I'm really happy with them, and they just thrive in this system. They need very little shelter, just a bit of cover from the rain, and they're happy out. I probably think they're going to get fed. Just here with the piggies, moving them. Today's moving day for the pigs. Come on here, girl. And these girls will be harvested in about 3 weeks. Hello, my beauty. Hello, piggy. Oh, beautiful animals. I love pigs. They're really strong. Oh, this girl's about 150 kilos. It's a bit hard to see. She's a big girl, and these are powerful animals now, but they're so easy. They never go through this fence. You can see this is the fence behind me, so it's just 2 rows, and it's not that hot, but they never ask to come out through it. All their meads are net, so they really don't want to. This girl's having a bit of a wallow and a bit of a puddle back here. Just coming over now to see what's happening. But yeah, pigs are awesome. They do really well in the system for us. I don't know if I'll ever scale it up or not. I'd love to, but the economics of pigs isn't great, and finding suitable land. We might always just do it on a homestead level, I'm not sure. But we will have some pork available for sale. I was just talking to the slaughterhouse, so they can do the whole lot. They can do bacon, sausage, everything for me. So I'm just talking to them. Probably going to turn a lot of the pigs into bacon and sausage, and then just shoulder joints and hams. But yeah, I'll talk with the butchers about that, and in hopefully a month we'll have some free range bacon for sale. I'm snacking on some grass. Pigs do eat grass. And that's what gives them this unique flavour. And of course pigs are omnivores, so they can digest pretty much anything, plants, animals, any sort of cell tissue at all. They can handle it. They're one of nature's recycling machines. Now don't be fooled, these guys will root the hell out of this ground soon. They'll eat all the grass first off the top, and then they'll start turning it in, because they love to root too, as you can see on their snout. Rooting is their main tool. Piggy. Yeah, that girl. And that's it for me. The rain's back on again, but that's it for me for this week. I'll try and be more regular with our updates. We're kind of in a shift in the season now, so we're moving from summer to winter, and most of the animals are moving off the farm and getting processed. And now I'm thinking about the winter plans. I've got projects that need to get planned out. Well, most of them are planned out. Materials are ordered, and now they got to happen. So our fence got to go in. I've got a few other projects in the pipeline that I'm working on, and then that's going to cover the next probably 3 months. And at the same time, we start planning for next year. So we're already thinking about how many numbers of what we're going to do next year, and then we got to, in the winter time, we got to sit down, put all that down on the plan, figure out what the 2021 season is going to look like, the logistics, the financial planning, the time, how many people, where, and we've got some exciting stuff coming up in 2021. So keep an eye out. We have some good opportunities coming up. So watch this space, guys, and thanks for watching.